Hello and welcome to the third lesson of Spiral 1. Today we are looking at sum and difference of two polynomials. So at the end, the goal is I want you to be able to add and subtract polynomials. Well, the question is, what is a polynomial? So a polynomial is an expression that has two or more terms. All right, so what does that mean? Well, you were working with polynomials in the last lesson. So if you have x squared plus 5x plus 5, so they are not like terms. So there are three unique terms, so that would be a polynomial. Or if you had 3xy plus 5y squared minus 3x squared y squared, and then let's put a plus 2, so that's four terms. Again, each one of them is not a like term, so they're unique terms. They're not like, and there's two or more, so we end up with what we call a polynomial. So what we want to be able to do is add them together. And there's two techniques, two approaches that you can use. The first technique is kind of working with it as is. So I'm going to just rewrite it basically from above. Oops. It's minus the 6x, minus 6 plus 2x. So what you do is you say any like term. So there's a like term, there's a like term, and in each case we're going to be adding. So we have 2x squared plus 3x squared would give me 5x squared. I have an x term and I have an x term. Again, we're adding, so negative 5 plus 2 would be negative 3x. And finally, I have a number, a 3 and a negative 6. So 3 plus negative 6 is negative 3. All right, so that is just using that addition sign, and it's just basically adding the corresponding terms together. Now the other way, technique 2, this is the one I kind of prefer. What I do is I write the first one, 5x plus 3. Now my adding sign, I'm going to put out front, and we're going to do something called stacked addition. So now I'm lining up my like terms right away. So I want my x squareds to be on top of each other. So I'm going to write the 3x squared here. Now the number, the first one is at the end. So I want to put my number at the end. So the negative 6 would go here, and then the 2x would go here. And what I'm essentially doing is I'm adding downward. All right, so it's called stacked addition. So I put a big line across here, and it's just equals. It's like when you add, this is the same as what you used to do in the good old days. All right, you'd add your columns together. It's the same thing here. So I would say 2 plus 3 is 5x squared. Negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3x. 3 plus negative 6 is negative 3. So you get the same answer. The like terms, you have to still identify the like terms regardless which technique you pick. But like I said, the stacked addition, for me, it's a little bit cleaner, but you can pick whichever one you want. It does not matter. So just a second example is subtracting. 2x squared. So the first technique, we just rewrite it as is. And then we need to identify our like terms. So this time we got to be careful. We're subtracting. All right. So like term, I have an x squared and an x squared. So that means I will do 2 take away 3 is negative 1x squared. Now I have x terms. So negative 5 take away 2 gives me negative 7x. And finally I have a 3 and a negative 6. So 3 take away negative 6. And these signs you got to be comfortable with. If you're taking away a negative, your life's getting better, so you're adding. So it's 3 plus 6, so it ends up being a 9. Okay. The second technique, just to review, I write the first one. That subtraction sign is going to come out front, and then I line up my terms. They're already in the right order. So again, I am just adding my columns. So I have 2 take away 3, negative 1x squared. Negative 5 take away 2 more is negative 7x. 3 take away negative 6. Subtracting a negative, taking away negatives is a good thing, so it ends up being adding, and you can see you get the same answer. Okay? So I have 4 examples here to go through. I'm going to do one of each in each way here. So for the first one, I'll do a stacked addition. So this is how I would do it if I on a worksheet. I would go like this, and I would line up my other one underneath. And now I can just add down my columns because they're all lined up for me, the terms. So 2 plus 1 is 3x squared. 7 plus negative 5. So I'm adding negatives, so that's like subtracting. 7 take away 5 is 2x. Negative 20 plus negative 3. So again, we're adding negatives to your life. You're getting more negative. It would be 3x squared plus 2x minus 23. All right. The second way, I'll do the other technique. So I have line up my x's and line up my numbers. Okay. So I've got to remember I'm subtracting. So negative 2 take away 5 is negative 7x. Negative 3 take away 4. So we're subtracting a positive. That means it's getting worse. So negative 3 take away 4 is negative 7. All right. Next 2 examples. I'll go and do stacked. I'll do it the other way. I'll do the addition with the first method, or the first technique. So I have my x squareds. I have negative 4x, positive 6x, and then 9's kind of got no partner. So again, I need to remind myself that I am doing addition. So 8 plus 12. That gives me 20x squareds. I have negative 4x plus 6. So I'm adding. Negative 4 plus 6 is 2x. Now the 9 has no partner, so I'm kind of like adding 0. It's going to stay 9 and follow along like that. Over here, I'm going to do my stacked addition. So I'm going to write my subtraction sign. I'm going to line them up. So my x squareds, my x's, and my numbers. Put a bar underneath. Negative 2 take away 7, so we're subtracting there. We get 9x, negative 9x squared. Positive 6 take away negative 5. So I'm taking a negative away, so that's a good thing. So it means I'm adding, so it will end up being 11x. Negative 3 take away 3 more gives me negative 6. So I think both are equivalent amount of work. I don't think one's shorter than the other. You pick the technique that you like the best, all right? When you're going through and trying the homework, just be consistent when you're doing it. Okay, last 2 examples here. What is the perimeter of the following rectangle? So, a bit of a review. What is perimeter? Well, it is length and width. So it's going to be 2 lengths and 2 widths. So length plus width plus width. All right, and we're going to I'm going to end up using, let's use the space down here, and we'll do A and B down here. So that means perimeter would equal x plus 8 plus x plus 8. All right, so I did my 2 lengths, length plus length. Now I'll do my widths, 2x minus 6 plus 2x minus 6. Where are my like terms? I have an x, 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 x. So that means I have 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6. So I have 6 x's. And then I have 8, another 8, take away 6, take away 6. So we're using our adding skills here. 8 and 8 is 16. Take away 6 is 10. Take away 6 is 4. So that is my perimeter for this shape, 6x plus 4. And you could have done that with stacked addition as well. B part, what happens if x is 5? So if x equals 5, perimeter would equal, and remember from grade 8, when you do a substitution, we use brackets. So we would have, 6, and the x becomes a 5 plus 4. So now we use bedmass. 6 times 5 is 30 plus 4, and the perimeter is 34 meters. All right. Next example, number 4. When two polynomials are subtracted, the answer is that. What might the polynomials be? This is why I like the stacked addition, because what's going to happen is one polynomial minus another is going to give me 3x squared plus 6x minus 8. So we just have to figure out what subtract what will give me 3, because I know they're both going to be x squareds. All right. So for example, if I had 5 take away 2, that would give me x squared. All right. I'm going to put plus signs in there. So now I have to figure out how much x take away this gives me 6. So you're looking for any two numbers that when you subtract them, they give you 6. So 10 take away 4, 6x plus. Now I'm looking for two numbers that when you subtract, they give you negative 8. So we could say 0 take away 8 gives us negative 8. So therefore, 5x squared plus 10x minus, we'll put them in brackets, 2x squared plus 4x plus 8 would work. All right, and there's an infinite number. You can use whatever numbers you want to work in there, but that is your process. You're just figuring out what two will give you that particular answer. And it's exact same with example 3. You find two polynomials whose sum is 4x squared minus 9x. Sum means addition. So we are looking for two polynomials that will give me 4x squared minus 9x. So without doing the circles this time, I have x squared and x squared. What plus what gives me 4? So let's go with 1 plus 3x squared gives me 4. Plus, I need to get something, take away something to give me negative 9x. So how about we go with 1 plus, I guess this is going to have to change to a negative sign, negative 10x. So therefore, do it over here where there's room. Therefore, x squared plus x. And if I add 3x squared minus 10x, I'll get my answer. So those numbers here, you can choose them as long as it works out with that below. Same thing here, 1 and negative 10 gave me the negative 9. So questions like that in the homework, you're just using your adding and subtracting skills to make it kind of work out for you in the end. And there is an infinite number of answers because there's a whole bunch of possibilities. If you have any questions with the homework while you're working your way through, make sure you ask your teacher for help.